thumbs up because I'm on a different laptop. Oh, I'm live now. Yeah, so this video, I'm on a different laptop, so it looks like the microphone's working. So hopefully I won't have that issue like I had in that old video. But yeah, so this video, I just really kind of woke up this morning and was just thinking about looking back on my time at 30. Being I'm over 30 now. I'm over 30 now, and just looking back on like people, on all the people that I once knew, and and just how everything really played out, man. And because I'm getting ready to head back out the country again, so I had to like run across some older people I knew for other various reasons, and I kind of hear like through the grapevine what other ones are doing, man, and like it's really crazy. Like, and these are, like I say, when I'm talking like this, these are for like the younger guys between like just the younger guys, but under 25 mostly, and maybe older if you didn't already know some of this stuff, and maybe you could find this insightful. But yeah, just looking back on how everything plays out, and there's a common trend with a lot of it. Now, for me, where I grew up, I didn't grow up poor, but I didn't grow up rich. I grew up like pretty much like right in the middle, where like none of our parents were really involved in anything super serious, but we like it wasn't surprising to have steak every other night for dinner, if that makes sense. Like there were other high schools around me where parents like, okay, it was known it was known if you went to some high schools that yeah, you were automatically going to college after. It's just which college are you going to? Now the high school I went to wasn't like that. The high school I went to was more along the lines of college is where the guys go, and I'm lucky to get into one kind of thing for most of us there. I mean, there's always anomalies. There's always one or two that pop up, not that can defy that. But for the most part, college, where I went to high school at, was pretty much a pipe dream for most of us. So with that being said, man, just like I said, just reflecting back and looking at all the guys who were like cool in high school. So in a dynamic of where I went to high school, pretty much it generally went along these lines. If you were cool in high school, you're pretty much just doing like relatively loser stuff ever since after high school. It's just how it was at the high school I went to. Now, for instance, let's say like there's another high school, I think it was like Moeller or something like that, or that wasn't too far away. Now that high school had kids whose parents like probably did something for like it was no, if you were playing sports at like high schools like that, or a lot of times if you just went, or I think St. X was another one, if you just went to those schools, like your parents were into something, and they were going to just bring you up in it type of thing. Whereas like I said, where I went to high school at, our parents really didn't do a whole, I mean, we were really just kind of that medium, like the mediocre part of the road type of thing, where it even and my high school situation hit us harder because that was at the time period where it was almost impossible to find a job that paid anything over $10 or $12 an hour with just a high school diploma, especially in the area I was in. It was pretty much impossible to do it. At least for our culture and our mentalities, we just didn't know where because like 20 years prior to when I went to high school, those like if any older person's watching this video, those were the years where you could go work at a factory and make $20 an hour. You can drop out of high school and go do that. Whereas when I was coming up, that was all gone. So all we had was where you could work in a mall. And if your parents didn't know of any colleges or anything, you were pretty much stuck to working in the malls or working at best, you might get a customer service call rep job or something like that. And that was as high as you went for us. There was just nothing else there. Like I was just always the crazy one who broke off the path and would just drive off in the middle of nowhere and continue an adventure. But most people, man, like most of the guys I went to high school with, most of them, they're still doing the same basic thing, man. Like they just never grew. They never grew. Like I said, and I was thinking like when I woke up this morning about, I remember I was talking to this one girl. I think I was like maybe 19, and she was 18, and I really liked her too. But like I wasn't the cool guy, I wasn't especially back then. I definitely wasn't, the cool guy. And so I don't remember exactly what happened, but long story short, like she didn't end up liking me. So I remember like maybe like a year later, I was working at a gas station, and one of the cool guys from high school pulled up in this huge. This is back when like those Denali, those Yukon, is it Yukon Denali or something? It was a huge black truck SUV, and with her in the passenger seat. And that's just how the nature of life goes, man. Like, the girl always goes with the guy who has more money and status. But it wasn't a secret of how the guy was getting the money, because how that guy got the money was because I think his cousin went to the NBA, or his cousin was a successful dude. So he kind of gave his family members, money. So that guy wasn't actually earning it. It was coming back. But like I said in other videos, like women, they don't care where the money comes from, just as long as the money's getting there. Like they really don't care. Like I said, I think in a previous video, stated how, see, in the next generation, women will start liking video games because they'll start linking up video games with getting money. And now it won't be such a big deal. But like it's 10, 15 years ago, video games were strictly for nerds. They hated it. They didn't want any parts to do with it because there was no fiscal gain, no money to be made off of it. But that's a whole other video topic. But you know what? I remember when back to the guy who pulled up in the black truck. I remember when he pulled up and I was working in the gas station. He was coming to get gas. I was so embarrassed, man. I just like walked in the back and just hid in the back until he left. Cause like I was like 20. I had nothing going for myself. No college, no world wisdom, no world knowledge, no no. I mean, back then we just didn't even dress very well. It was just, man, I just had nothing going for me. I wasn't like I was embarrassed. I'll tell you that much. I was definitely embarrassed, but it wasn't like a defeated embarrassed though. Like I remember like not being able to put my finger on the exact like intricacies of being embarrassed, but I was embarrassed. And and it's so much harder at those ages between 15 and 25 for men, because like, especially like, okay, from my perspective of it, like we just don't know how all this plays out until we finally see it. And like, see, back then I didn't know how all this was going to play out. Like him getting free money, she's just all the girl has to offer is just being cute and smiling. After that, and opening a hole, that's pretty much what especially in those ages, that's all of them really have to offer: a cute smile, a hole, and looking cute. That's about it. And the looking cute had nothing to do with that was just biology playing its part. They didn't even earn that. So like, see, when you get older, you can see all these things much clearer. But see, at those ages, like we were just taught to worship women and worship certain things. So long story short, after that, man, like I ended up looking her up. I am stumbling upon her on Facebook. She just, that's how it always plays out. She's got, multiple kids by multiple different baby daddies. She gained weight and still trying to wear heels and horrible makeup in clubs. She's a ghetto whore now. I mean, you can tell by how she writes under her Facebook pictures. She turned into a ghetto whore. She lived her high life up when she was, teenage, early 20s. That was it. But see, back then, like when you're a man in your teenage, early 20s, it's just so you just can't see the other side of it. But yeah, it's just rough to see, like, or older guys, guys who were cool in high school, they were always like good at basketball and everything. And now they're 30, and now they're at the age where most NBA players retire, and they're still like trying to live off that old hype dream of Al Bundy. I had 4 touchdowns in a single game. That's what a lot of them are going to turn into, man. It just is what it is. And it's kind of sad. It's kind of funny and it's kind of sad at the same time, because the reality of it, because they never got a chance to grow. Because I tell you what, man, because see, like the hard part with those guys is that, and the girls who live it up in those ages, see, like when they're cool in high school is pretty much just handed to you. So these people never really had to learn how to be rejected or not be good enough, or have to earn have to earn it. They never really had to learn how to earn anything other than just being who they are. So in high school, they'll live it up. And then it's like, and see, and a huge transition is those next few years after high school. when they get out there in the real world and how they'll actually handle. Because when they get out there in the real world, nobody knows what you did in high school. Nobody really cares about the age you got in science class, or you were the prime star on the football team in your little small town. Nobody's gonna, unless you were like abnormally great at it, nobody's gonna care. So now you got to go through this whole transition of creating something for yourself, and that's where a lot of people do in that transition. That's where a lot of them are just gonna fall off, be forgotten, get beat down by life. Now, I remember one girl, man, she was like that. She was at the height of her game. I mean, everybody wanted her. She was always welcome to something. She like, see, women like that, they never had to learn how to take a full loss in life. Because as soon as they lose, some chump will just give them something, or somebody will give them. They'll be invited to a party that the next day, or they can always make up by taking a loss by being wanted by someone pretty relatively immediately after. So when they get grown, they end up having to go to university and see that, oh, like there's like 4,000 other ones just like me or better. I don't stand out anymore. Like when I was at this high school, I could stand out amongst the top girls. But when I go to this university, there's 4,000 or 5,000 others just in my own grade as a freshman like me, not counting the sophomores, juniors, seniors, grad school, post grad, teachers. They, so that they got all this competition and they just can't compete with it. So a lot of them just fall off. I knew this one girl, she did that, like most of them will do. She did that and, end up dropping out, flunking out of college, ran away. In other words, ran away from college because of the competition. And any guy who was just who had at least a little bit of self-esteem and dressed halfway decent could hook up with her. And I'll tell you exactly why. Because that validation is what they're looking for. You see, kind of like, I'm not, because I've never been to prison, but I'm going to ignorantly speak on prison. I think it's the same thing why a lot of guys go gay in prison. They're all mentally confused, and so they'll just go gay. But what's really going on, and they're not gay, but what's going on is they're searching for that validation. You see, and this is what a lot of those hot girls do when they get out of high school and flunk out of college. They're searching for that anything that's going to give them that comfort zone of where they were in high school again. That, oh, I'm wanted again. They'll text me back. They'll pay for something for me. And blah, see anything that'll bring them back to that. A lot of them will go out there and do it because a lot of them won't grow to that next level, and it's really sad, man. And my philosophy on why I date certain women and why I talk to certain women is this. The reason why I say never ever date a woman over 25 is because that is the woman when she's in between 18 and 25. Those are the years where they're operating at their max potential. So whatever they want in those years, that's what they truly want this entire time. Once they get over that age, like they finally start to see, oh, I'm not the top thing anymore. I can't keep this competition up. So I need to go get the best loser I can find to take care of me, pretty much. And okay, what the girl I just got done speaking about, she was a perfect example. She ended up marrying a guy that she would have never looked at when she was 20. Never would have paid him any attention. But see, because they know the game. See, they know the game, and they know it so brutally well that they don't even like to hear you talk about it out loud. You see what I'm saying? Like, because they know everything. They know every bit of what I'm saying is true. But that's a whole nother topic, because this topic is going on looking back at 30. Yeah, look at, man, like the guy, okay, just as a man in my position in life now, there is no woman that I would look at, I went to high school with, that I would genuinely be interested in. As a man who has his own education, has his own will throughout the world, who can, I'm traveling, I'm getting moved back to Europe, and not this Monday, but the next Monday. And I got all my stuff set up over there and here. A man in my position, there's just I just can't do it for multiple reasons. And like I said, for the younger guys, like, see, if you're 17, 18 now, see that girl that you're finding like super attractive, super hot, she's perfect, blah, blah, blah. Most of them, give them 5 years and they'll fall off. 5 years, you won't even remember her name. You got to look at it like this. See, for you younger, if the younger guys are watching this, you have to look at it like this. You know how you go through porn, right? And you just clicking on different videos in porn, and just as fast as you clicked off this one and went to another one, that's how you go. That's the reality of life. You just got one-itis over this one or these two or three girls right now. But see, like, because when you get out there in that world, see, when you start hitting 25, 26, 27, and if you're lucky enough to start traveling, or you just get older and you just start seeing stuff and start waking up, and you're gonna start putting a logic together, like, man, like there's just always going to be another one around the corner. Just like when you clicking through porn, it's just always another better video to go watch. So it's like, okay, well, so which one do I want to actually watch now? Type of thing. But see, like, but when you're younger, you can't really see it like that. It's still more about the one-itis thing. Like this one is, oh, she's just so perfect because that's all you see on your street corner, you know. But the world is a much bigger place. It's a much bigger place. I'm not trying to say you have to go to college either. I'm definitely not saying that. I say most women do, if they want okay, most women who still want a respectable man, they'll have to go to college. But I'm not saying most men don't. Men, it's all about your as a man, it's all about your willpower, determination, and education, whether formally or non-formal education. You just learned in the world. Learn from somebody. Like you can just. I think I watched an interview with the guy who made Titanic. He shared his story. He said he got the equivalent of a PhD for $120 because what he did was he would just go get the curriculum from the university and then just go rent the books from the library and scan the books, copy, Xerox copy the books, and then just read the books like that. So he read all the same material as going up to PhD in whatever field he was in, which I mean it works because it's really about the knowledge. A piece of paper is just going to get you looked at quicker probably, but if you can just start spouting off knowledge, well, they'll take you over the guy with the piece of paper any day if your knowledge is making great sense because now you're valuable as a man. But yeah, man, looking back at 30, like I say this, man, my overall thing I would say is this: whatever girl you chasing, um, whatever girl you chasing, most cases it's not worth it for your life as an individual because okay, as a man, see, and this is something that women know, and looking back at 30, I've learned this. As a man, you can always go out there and create another family. You can always go out there and be wanted as long as you keep working on yourself. Women don't have that same option. And not talking just of because they wound or because they become infertile over at a certain age, but because it's just is because of what naturally attracts men to women, and they lose all of that. They're that naivety, that cuteness, just the way they look. They inevitably lose it. They don't have that option. So if you're chasing a woman, and I knew a lot of guys, man, they tapped out early with just I remember one good friend of mine. He was dating this girl. I flat out told him like, no, dump her, man, because like you got to work on you. And this dude he's still one of those guys. Oh, I think I'm gonna go back to school. And you know what I'm saying? And he's still doing the same job that anybody could have got at 16 years old, or 18 years old. And any 18-year-old could have walked in there and done that. There's nothing special about it. I mean, he held on to the girl. She's still driving crazy. And he's stuck. And so I mean, there was so much more in the world that he completely missed out on because he's focusing on this woman that it ain't that isn't worth anything. Because in the end, see, look, as long as you can always get more women, but the woman can never allow you to work on yourself, if that makes sense. It just it very rarely happens where a woman is going to actively allow you to work on yourself, and she won't want you to. And the reason she's not going to want you to is when you start working on yourself, she knows that that's going to make you more desirable to other women, which is going to put her position with you in jeopardy. That's why. Some case, very rarely, she will push for him to be better. Very rarely, but it does happen. But most cases, she will never want you. So what? So my advice to younger guys, if you're watching this, if you even kept watching this long, is work on yourself. You can always get another one of them. Always. It's always going to be 3 more around the corner, and it's going to be a whole new graduating class of them next year around the globe. Okay. You can always get another one of them. Work on yourself. Work on yourself. And you'll be fine. Stop. Don't follow no woman around at 20, when you 20, 21, 22. Especially if you got a kid by another man already. No, that is just dumpster trash all over it. But let's say she's like, a cute little 20-year-old girl, nothing. You cute little 20-year-old girl, no kids, probably work at some customer service job because that's about all they can ever do because people just want to look at them. And if you're 20, that is just a danger zone for you. Now, for me at 33, decent money, healthy, blah blah blah, drive a nice car. For me, I can take it, and I know how to handle it. But at 20, like you just don't have the skills. You really don't. You just don't. I'm sorry to tell you, man. But yeah, work on yourself. Go to Either go to school, learn something, do something to where like do something to where you could go out in the world, not just on your street corner, not just in your state, but where you can go out in the world and sell yourself and have say, oh yeah, that dude, yeah, he's a valuable dude. Get yourself to that level before you start considering. I say just stay a virgin until you get to that level. Because once you get to that level, you can, like I said before, you can always just, if you don't like this one, throw her out. Just like the porn, just like when you go on Pornhub, you don't like this video, click, go off that, go to another one. You see what I'm saying? Because it's the same thing. It really is. It's the same. It's the same. I mean, there are cases where you might you genuinely find one you may fall in love with. I get that. Most of them you genuinely won't. But you'll tell yourself you did because she let you have sex with her. But yeah, that's it, man. Work on yourself. Looking back, overall advice: work on yourself. And then the women, they will instinctively follow you.